Hey everyone, Cahlen here, and today I'm going to try eating yucca stalk. So you can see this is a yucca plant, very spiky. You'd have to be very careful about not getting poked here. Made a video with my buddy Hyper Vegan where he showed us how you can make fiber out of this to make bracelets or probably clothes or even shoes if you got really intense about it. But once a year it'll grow a stalk up out of it. You can see this is the stalk from last year, and this is the stalk from this year. And we'll look at another one because it's a little less developed than this, and you'll see what I mean when I say it looks exactly like asparagus, but you could probably kind of see it here. So these are the little flower. The flowers haven't opened yet, but basically I'm going to harvest this thing, and then I'm going to fry it up over some coals on a campfire, and I'm going to eat it. But let's go look at the other one, which is the one that probably is going to taste better. So here's this guy, and you can see definitely looks like an asparagus. And Jesse and Johanna were saying they think it actually is similar to asparagus, like it might be in the same, whatever they call those things, groupings of species or genus or whatever, but yeah, definitely like a giant asparagus. So here's the two that I harvested. Pretty big, right? That's a lot of food. You do have to be really careful sticking your hand down in there because, like I said, it's extremely pokey. It's very easily to skewer yourself and end up bleeding. I guess I am bleeding a little bit. I'm bleeding in two different places. See, I didn't even get poked very bad, right? And I'm still bleeding in two places, so just be careful. All right, here I am at a camp. I'm going to start a little fire and to get some coals going. Look at these things are so big, I'm going to have to cut them up just to get them to fit in there. Anyways, this is where I used to draw firewood from, but now I've used most of the small sticks, so we got a bunch more fuel over here to grab. So I've got some sticks set up to start the fire here, and I've got in my pocket here, switch hands here. This is where I keep this is my tinder bag, and then I have a scrapey thing. What do I call this? Ferro rod, right? And then I have my bellows. So basically, anywhere I go, I have everything I need to make a good fire. So it's going to be a bit windy today, so I apologize for that affecting the video, but it's not as bad as we thought it was going to be. We'll see how it picks up in the afternoon, but there's actually some fires out to both the east and west of us, which are pretty severe. But where I am, there's just so much open space, it would be a bit hard for it to spread, so I'm not worried about this thing causing any problems. So you see we've got a really good bed of coals here. I'm just going to wait for the fire to go out, and then I'm going to cut up those yucca stalks and put them on top. So all I'm going to need in terms of cooking tools is I'm going to need my knife, which I used to harvest the yucca and also to cut it up. And then in my other pocket on the other side, I keep all my kitchen type stuff. So I got some tongs, right? So this will help me for picking it up and turning it when it's on the bed of coals. Okay, so we've got them cut up, and I'm just gonna set them on top of the coals. That's basically it. Look, I even have way more than I need or can fit in this fire. So they've been cooking for a little while. As you can see, I've turned them a few times. I don't know how well you can see, but if you look at the stalk there, where it was cut, there is moisture, which is kind of like boiling a little bit. So it's definitely cooking them on the inside. Okay, I pulled this guy off the fire. He was kind of in the back, kind of the hottest spot, really. And he had a good amount of flowers on it. You can see those look pretty well cooked, so I'm going to eat some of those, and then I'm going to cut this thing open and see how it tastes to eat the stalk at this point. So I'm going to eat these flowers. A lot of the flowers were pretty well charred, and I think a lot of the good food is in the flower. I think in the future what I would do is I would cut off all of the flowers and separate them, you know, the pre-flowers, and cook them in a less hot part of the coals while I cook the stalks more directly on the coals, because the stalks have a very thick layer of cellulose on the outside, which is going to keep the insides from burning while still cooking it, right? So that's what I think I would change, but let's give these flower buds a try. Can you hear it whistling? I mean, it's kind of like, it tastes different than asparagus, but it's almost like it's asparagus which has been magnified because, you know, it got really big. So that's my description of that. It's very asparagus-y, but also quite different than asparagus. So anyways, now I'm going to try this stalk, but I can't hold the camera while I do that, so I'm going to cut it open and then we'll try it. Okay, so this is a cut open end of that stalk. Don't know how well you can see it. It's starting to look like it's, you know, it's cooked to the point that I could eat it, but I'm guessing it probably could do with, you know, a fair more amount of cooking. So let's just try it where it is. So it definitely tastes different than the flour, but not in a really big way. You know, kind of like if you were to eat a really huge asparagus, like I said, you know, each part would taste different, right? But so, you know, asparagus is kind of small, so it all kind of meshes together. So anyways, that's a lot of food in there, right? This is like 1/10 of the stalk that we got, right? Yeah, that's a lot. This by itself is a lot of food. So this is one of the tops, right? And it's kind of pre-flower, so the very, very small pre-flowers going on here. Kind of like this is what the top of the asparagus looks like. And it's a little bit crisp, but I'm gonna just try it. I suspect this is gonna be a pretty good part. It's really good. It's a lot of food, right? It was a really big bite. It was a lot of stuff and a lot of good stuff in there. And I've eaten maybe, I don't know, 2 of those pieces out of the, I think, 8 that I made, maybe 6. And at this point I already feel kind of like full, right? So I could, basically this could be just considered a meal, or more than I would even need for a single meal, which I think is pretty cool. So I had some big stalk left that wouldn't fit, and I figured it was probably too thick to eat, but now I'm thinking, you know, it would probably work if I cooked it, if I buried it in the coals. So I buried 3 of them, right? This is how much I wasn't even going to eat. And I think actually these are going to be pretty good. So it looks really burnt on the outside, but that was kind of like a really hard cellulose layer that I wasn't going to be able to eat anyways. And I think the fact that it was so thick is going to protect it on the inside. So let's cut it open and see if there's anything worth eating in here. So here's what it looks like. Looks like it's basically ready to eat. I started peeling it off on one side, so I think I'm going to finish that and just eat it that way. Okay, so here's some cooked yucca stalk, kind of down towards the base, the thicker stuff. This little piece is cut in half, right? So this is only half of the stalk. And it is pretty fibery, but not so fibery that I couldn't chew this enough to actually then swallow it. But I also feel like when I'm chewing into it, there's a lot of good, juicy, jelly, calorie-dense, nutrient-dense stuff, which is coming out and which I'm swallowing. So even if I was going to spit out the cellulose, which I don't think is necessary, I would have gotten most of the good stuff out of it already. So here's what those stalks look like when they're more in their flowered state. You can see these are basically flowered, and you can eat these as well. This one looks like it has 2 stalks. That's cool. So this one's got 2 as well, and you can see down in there that even on the same plant they come in at different speeds, and so that will, even though maybe these seem to grow really fast, so a single stalk may only be around through its entire lifespan for a few weeks maybe, but because they all start at different times, that it may even, you know, be something you can eat for a couple of months. And you can see those ones are really small, and that's kind of what we have around here mostly, but you know, a lot of places have these really big ones, right? And this has the exact same thing happen, except it'll just be giant, you know, basically feed a family. So that's my first time eating yucca stalk. Pretty good. It's encouraging to know that there's, you know, a lot of food out there. I could find a lot of that, although I do have to keep in mind it's only available during spring, and that's when a lot of other stuff is available too. So, you know, the most important thing is to identify foods that are going to be around during kind of the leaner months, right? Because like right now there's just basically endless food. So anyways, I'll probably keep making videos where I'm eating various things that occur out in the wilderness. Jesse and Johanna like to say, eat something wild every day, and I'm sure they got that phrase from someone else, but I think it's a good thing, you know, just start identifying stuff around you that's edible, and try and eat a little bit, you know, incorporate it into your diet. So anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please consider sharing it. If you'd like to help me out in a more substantial way, you can learn how to do so at cahlen.org/gift. And if you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with me, whether publicly or privately, you can learn how to do so at cahlen.org/one-on-one. Thanks again for watching.